generation. A generation.
A generation. Generation.
A generation of godly unorthodox leaders. Positioned for global impact. CTCFC. New generation.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's an honor to be here. Before I start, when Paul was reading that out, I was wondering to myself that is that me or is that somebody else is talking about? That I might have one that is speaking about. I mean, it's an honor. It's an honor. You know, it's good to be here in the midst of all of you. So you know, just as a background, Lieutenant Colonel Adibandre was a teacher, one of our well-respected and revered tutor in the Nigerian military schools there where I went to NMS. So I think the way that I want to take this conversation, I want to backtrack. You know, I want to speak on, because we're all about individual journeys. So I just want to take a step back and explain how that journey has been from when it started, as far as I can remember, to where we are today. When Ogadimandre reached out to me, my guys, I like to call him, about this event, and we're discussing a theme. You know, my spirit was just filled with, by strength shall no man prevail, which is really a Bible verse from 1 Samuel 2, verse 9, that says that it will keep the faith of his saints, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness, for by strength shall no man prevail. So, you know, we're going to have different revelations for that verse, but mine is very simple. It just means that whatever you do in life, it takes the power and the grace of God to push that lever to the next level at all times. You cannot do it by yourself. So, you know, you must rely on something. So it's either you choose God to rely on, or, you know, whatever it is that you worship, which is, you know, we're not talking religion or spirituality. We're just talking relationship with the Most High God. Okay. Now let's start the journey so far. So I'm sure, you know, I get asked a lot of this question all the time. You know, the beginning, why NMS, Nigerian Military Schools era? I went to a primary school in Victoria Island, where I grew up not too far from the road in 1004. And in primary school, I had a bunch of friends. Their dads were all in the military. A few names, if you permit me. Owoye Azazi, General Azazi, Andrew Zidon, General Zidon, Mambada Bacha, and a few other people. You know, all of them they had parents in the military. And they all said they were going to this school. And I said, what school is this? You know, and everybody said, oh, this school is all the way in Zaria and Kaduna State. And I said, okay, I wouldn't mind going to this school, but what's really about? And I said, it was a military school. I said, military school? I know that might not fly in my house. Well, you know, I just somewhat courage, went home, and I discussed with my father, I like that now, blessed memory, that there's this school all the way in there that my friends want to go to, that can I go there too? And he says, yes, you can, but if you're going to go there, it has to be between both of us. I can't tell your mom, because if your mom knows that you're going to NMS, then she's never going to agree, because she won't think that you survive it. Anyway, lo and behold, it says, look, if you pass, you will go. Back in the day, NMS entrance examination, if you pass it, they used to select, if I recall, the top 8 boys from every state in Nigeria. I entered NMS on the 4th of January, 1991, as a second pick from Ondo State, if I remember. Yes, I think, yeah, I was the second pick from Ondo State. The NMS would pick the top 8 boys, just the top 8 academic sound boys from every state in Nigeria. It took me 20 years to understand the NMS methodology. And it's every day, the older I get, the more clear it becomes. You see, that model itself, it's a winning model. Because if you are picking the top 8 young boys at that age to live together, cry together, play together, suffer together, enjoy together, grow together, out of those top 8, success rate is already for sure more than 50% because I've been created here to succeed. So some people must succeed. You know, we all have our success momentum is different. That somebody's ahead of you and you're behind doesn't mean that he's better than you. It just means that your time and your season is on its way, and it will come and will surely come to pass. So that's how we got into NMS. Even though my space in King's College was kept for about 4 years, because I think back in the day, once you do well in common entrance, you get automatically into King's College in Lagos. And so they kept that space for about 4 years, thinking I was not survive my geometry school. NMS was tough, to say the least. I mean, it was a military school, so that's what you expect. It was very, very tough. But those are the true foundations that have molded men like me into what we are today. Without those beginnings, it would have been difficult to attain and persevere some of the things that one went through the journey and the course of one's life. So I think, without a shadow of doubt, in retrospect, I think that was one of the best decisions, that allowing God to take control of everything. I think that has shaped me to the man that I am today. So if I fast forward, real quick, from NMS I went to IFE. A few of my friends went to NDA. It was clear that I wasn't going to go to academy, because for me personally, I think I'd had enough beating in NMS, and I said I was going to spend the rest of my life just getting people beat me or whatever it was. So I said, okay, with university, and I went to IFE. I went from University of IFE, where I studied accounting. Now, full disclosure, IFE, when I was in IFE, some of us enter uni with our own thought process. So the first year, second year was more of trying to enjoy the freedom from home. And in IFE was simple. Either you were a club boy, club meaning that either one of the ones that are doing the parties in school. You have to one of the three things, just one of the three things. Either you're a club boy doing parties in school, you're a court boy doing whatever it was that you were doing, or you're neck deep in a fellowship. So following the word of God. When I entered IFE, I was a club boy, because we were just, at that time, we're young, vibrant, and it was just about, let's have the best parties in school. So we did that first year. I was studying accounting, by the way. First year, second year. In my third year, I woke up one day and realized that, we had a club in school there called Excel. And when we formed Excel, 12 of us were in the same, about 11 of us were in the same year, 9 or 10, about 9, 10 were in the same year. I just entered school 2 years before year one. And there were like 3 other guys that were ahead of us. Out of the 9 or 10 of us, I realized that there was only about 2 of us left, because a lot of my other friends were doing courses like geology, pharmacy, medicine, where you couldn't mix all these things together. And so they had been advised to withdraw. So they had all moved to other schools outside the country. They had all left to universities in London and America, because they couldn't, if everything couldn't work for them, because what all just, the first 2 years were just sort of played. Now, in my third year, it was a sudden wake-up call, because I suddenly realized that, okay, wait a minute, we must be here for a purpose and reason. You are scaling, barely getting by. The kind of person I mean, then was, if exam period, once it's 1 week to the exam, I try to get serious, start to read the thing, and then, you just pass. You pass with the D's and the C's, and you just keep on. So that's how I was scaling it. So I remember in my third year, when this news had gone around, families that, oh, this person's so on, this person's so, but they had to leave, they've gone abroad, they all have problems in school, playing. So my parents came to school in IFE and went to see the lecturer, one of the lecturers. I think was doing the lecture of financial accounting, if I remember. I can't remember his name now, blessed memory. So went into his office, and he says that he has never seen me in his life before. This was my third year. But am I really an accounting student in his department? I say yes. So he goes back, and I bring out my results and all my papers, and he says, oh my God. Yeah, he's always wondered who this person is. I always see me in class, but when it's time for the exam, I write and answer the questions that and I always just killed with a C or a D. I always wondered who I was, and so it just has this pep talk, take life seriously. But that day, that period was a really defining moment in my life. That period, because that was the period that I personally in my life, I found God and began to take my work with God very, very seriously. Because I suddenly realized that, look, there's so much, much, much more to life than a lot of all these things that we're doing. So from that moment, there was a self-realization, a self-awareness. And from that third year, first semester in OEF, um, for the first time, I said, look, let's dust this. Okay, thanks, because you weren't allowed me to admit myself. Okay, so apologies for that. I think there was a misconnect. I think it's network issues. I'm not really sure where it's coming from. So if I think where I stopped was I think we're talking about IFE. Am I correct? Can anybody hear me? Nobody. Yes. Okay, you can. Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. So that was the IFE journey, and I managed to get out with A's and B's, but it was an interesting story. The IFE. Why I brought IFE. So despite the fact that God had prevailed and won the battle by the third year, last 2 years in IFE, year 3 and year 4, just A's and B's, it was time to leave. I had an extra semester. There was one course, SSC 201, statistics. That lecturer failed me in my second year university. Wondered why it's just statistics. Failed me in my third year again. And in my final year, it failed me again to give me an extra semester. So at that point in time, I knew I was battling with something different. So I spoke to my father and said, look, I have an extra semester at one course. Obviously they were a bit elated and delighted that, look, after all the playing, you only have one course left. I say, yeah, it's just statistics. And the man had filled me back to back for 3 years. So, okay, no problem. So the kind of person I was, being an ex-boy from military school, when we go for something, we'll go for it all out. By the time I was in that extra semester, when I was ready for the test and the exam for that statistics 101, I could write a book on statistics because I had soaked it in. I was ready from any angle, whatever force it was, wherever they were coming from. So back in the day, if I recollect very well, I think exams were over 70 and your assessment was over 30. So when I did an assessment for SSC 201 on my extra semester, I scored 28 over 30, which means I lost 2 marks. I wrote the exam and my extra semester, and when the results came out, when we saw the first set of results that came out, it said that I had scored what's that number? I was 28 now. 11. So my mark was 39, and 39 was an F. So I'd failed the course again. So I said to them that it was humanly impossible. Humanly impossible. At that time, I could write a book on the statistics 201. I said it was, I could even lecture the course at that time because I spent my time there. I said it was humanly impossible for me to have scored 11 over 70 and end up at 39 for a course that when I did the assessment, the test, I scored 28. That is not possible. So I said, no problem. I called my dad, late dad, who told him what I just transpired. I said I shouldn't worry that it will make me, because this was the time where we were trying to get our call up for NYSC. You're just supposed to go check your results. I'm there trying to get call up, do the same. I tell him that, that might cost that. We can't print out my results. I have no say on that because so he says I should hold on, don't worry. So he could also see the writing on the wall. So as God would have it, he came to school the next morning. He met me. I had to sleep in the hotel the day before. He came in the morning. We met me in school and went straight to the department. We kind of mixed West statistics was. And first things first, the lecturer don't know, the lecturer don't know that this was me anything. So they brought out a set of results for people that did it, that did that course again. No, that did that course again. They brought a set of results for everyone that wrote it, whether you're in year 2, you're in year 3, year 4, people that are doing it, just brought out one result. So when they went to my matric number, there was something funny. Someone had used a barrel to alter my results, and it was clear on the eye. You could see that there was an alteration on the results. So everything I'm speaking today, I want to speak real life experiences, what I've gone through as, my own journey of life. So that alteration, so I was, obviously I was telling my dad that, look, you see what happened? I said I should calm down. So he asked, who is the dean of this course? Teach me a course. How do I do that? So let me just. Let me go to participants here. Yeah? So who sent that message again? Just a minute, I got a message from. Was that Victor or Kaleshi? I can't think that. No, I didn't. All right, so yeah, so as I was saying, so we went back and we asked for the dean. She was a lady, an elderly woman, a professor in IFA. She was a professor in economics, and I think she was the dean of that faculty back then. I can't recall her name now. What else coming out first? Anyway, we'll go to her office and we table the story, and she says that there were 40 students that wrote this exam again that when that were supposed to have graduated. Were you among the 40? I said yes. And she goes, what's my matric number? And I give it to her. And she brings out the original list. And when I bring out that list, there was only one A in that list, 80A. That was my A. So somebody had changed the result from 80A to a 39F. And you see, that singular event, even though it sounds very trivial, could have just altered my destiny. And when we tried to unravel and unpack, okay, what's really going here? The lecturer's grouse was that when our earlier years in school, year 1 and year 2, that all we had to do was partying, that we're disturbing the whole campus with our parties. So that he vowed that none of us would graduate from IFA. That was his grouse. But that was his vow. That was in God's decree. Because as we're all aware, it shall neither stand, neither will it come to pass. Because it says that, who is it that issue a decree of saying that my Father in heaven has not authorized? So, you need to understand that on your journey, because God has a complete picture, will not let those kind of things happen in your life. So that was the first real battle. That was the first real challenge that I faced. But from there, lo and behold, after that happened, you know, at that point in time, as I saw the A, the woman got up, made a few phone calls to the VC. They had to do an emergency Senate meeting, calculate my results. I was there praying in tongues, praying hard because this was a moment of truth. I played, it was a 4-year course. I played for the first 2 years, getting with C's and D's. And even though I'd ramped up all the A's and B's in the last 2 years, I could not leave that place for less than a 2-2. I knew that the 2-1 was out of the way. Yeah, anyway, I left there with a 2-2. NYSC straight to Warri. Flew out to Warri the next day. Did my NYC Nigerian Gas Company. Another story for another day. So, so that I don't take too much time, I want to try and summarize this as much as possible so I'll let anybody ask anything. NYSC came back to Lagos. I wanted to work in one place called Assets and Resources Management, ARM. ARM was founded by Fola Deola, one of the founders of Guaranty Trust Bank, and it was being headed by a gentleman called Deji Ali. I think was the chairman for it today. So, and ARM was one of those ones that, back in the day in Lagos, a lot of my seniors in Ife that had gone to schools like Cardiff Business School, the ones that could get into the Ivy League schools in America, Yale, Wharton, Harvard, all of them came back and went to this one place to work, ARM. So ARM was like your Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan of Nigeria, because they're one of the first. I remember it very well, Discovery Fund. So anyway, long and short, went for the ARM chat, interview test. I got the role. Was supposed to start in October training school. I just finished my youth service around August, September. So I was waiting for that training school to start. One day in September, I got a phone call in my house. The landline rang. And it was one of my friends, one of my close friends, Bala Shaba. He used to work in Lead Merchant Bank. And it says that I'm going to get a call in a few minutes from FCMB. That FCMB is shopping for a currency trader. The treasurer, I said I should call around treasurer to treasurer, and that he gave his own boss, his treasurer, my name. So what do you mean give him my name? Currency trader. What then about currency trader? What do you mean give him my name? What then about FX? I'm over. You don't already have a job waiting for me. I'm just here, passing out time at home, relaxing. I start working October. He says no. I was getting my name over. Please, I should not fall his hand. I should at least go for the chat. I said, well, wait. So lo and behold, about a few minutes later, the landline rings again, and there's a call from FCMB. Said the treasurer wants to talk to me, Mr. Deba Adesanya. I talked to Oga Deba and he says, okay, call my name number. And I said, I'm glad I can't do this job. I said, no, sir, I've never done questioning before. I don't know what my friends. Anyway, let's come for a chat. So okay, I'll come there tomorrow. So I go to FCMB the next day. This was easily around, I think, 03, if I'm correct. So I go there the next day and I meet the treasurer, Deba Adesanya, and we sit down to have a chat. And he says, before we can even continue talking, that I need to do an aptitude test. That would I want to go and study for it and come back, or will I just go downstairs and do it now? I like to take my chances in life. So I said, I'll do it now. So I went downstairs, did a test. I always say, well, back then, you just do those tests. Computer, they calculate it, either you pass or you fail. I was going to have it, I passed. So he calls him back upstairs and we did the first set of interviews. I meet him from there. My current group CEO, Ladi Balogun, I just moved back into the country not too long from that period from Harvard Business School. I think, just assumed the position of either the DMD or the MD of FCMB. I think, of the bank. So I also meet him on another set of interviews. And then, long and short, I started working in FCMB as a currency trader. Now, that job, you see, the opportunities in life where you need to, when you seize them, and sometimes I think God will just use people. In retrospect, I had my own plan, which was to work with ARM. That's all I wanted to do, because that's where everybody that I admired or looked up to were working, and it was a nice place to work. But God said, no, you're going to go and learn currency trading. You're going to go work in treasury in FCMB. That's where you're going to start your career. That's going to be the journey. So obviously today, a lot of those things, there is clarity of why it happened that way. So I did FCMB, but had to move to London to do my ACCA because back then there were not very good tutoring houses in Nigeria for ACCA. So moved to London, did my ACCA, qualified as an accountant, I think in 05, or 19 years ago, became a chartered accountant, stayed back in London to work. Let me also say that, I mean, for those of us that are probably in different parts of our career, there's some doors that you have to keep on knocking. You just keep on knocking. After I finished my ACCA, I could have easily gone for 40 interviews to 50 before I landed my first job. And some of these interviews could have been on Monday. I get a call from one of my agents, maybe Matthew Anderson, or his accountant, or and I was registered to all the top firms. Got me a chartered accountant, so they'll register you. So I'll go on Monday, and when you get there, you don't get a job. Obviously, by the time you're coming back home on the train, you know that agent, oh, sorry, they said, no, you're overqualified, or no, they're looking for somebody. And, obviously, a bit downcast, but you're still elated that, well, you try again. On Tuesday, as you're on your own generally, you get another call, please, can you come at 12 noon, another client? You have to persevere. What I realized, and I look back now, is that even though it was a bit frustrating, even though the process was tiring, there was no time that they called me. Even though if I'd gone to an interview in the morning, I was just on my way back home in London. I had to go and meet somebody else, another company, maybe in the evening. And I knew that I didn't get that job in the morning. I'll still go. When the first job came, it was a miracle. Went for the interview. Before I left the building, the white man called it and said, I like him, I want to employ him. AXA Investment Managers. That was a breakthrough. Worked there from there. The doors opened. Cantor Fitzgerald, BGC Partners in Canary Wharf. But I was restless because it was clear that my destiny was in Nigeria. I moved back in 2009 to join Stanbic IBTC. When I came back to Nigeria, I moved back at a pay cut of about 50% of what I was earning in London. Sometimes in life, you have to come down to climb up. It's not always going to be one way. There are times whereby you understand where the journey is going, but you must be able to take a step back and go back up. So I took that role with a 50% haircut because it was just about moving back to Lagos and kickstarting everything again. Because I knew that, for me, it was clear that I would not leave outside Lagos or outside Nigeria. I go there for the work experience for education, but, my purpose and destiny, I already had it in my mind that, look, it's this country or nothing. So I did that, worked in Stanbic from 2009 to 2013. In 2013, I was the treasury accountant in Stanbic for West Africa. In 2013, I got picked up by Standard Chartered to work with them. Standard Chartered, I was there for 5 years. Those were the years of another wilderness. God was teaching a lot of things. And in those 5 years, I joined Standard Chartered as the finance partner for, I think, the retail business. Then I think after like 3 years, I was getting that role as the head of financial reporting. But for some reason, in those 5 years, so I think I left Stanbic Bank as a manager to join. I was a DM. I got a promotion in Stanbic because of one of the things that were done to manager. But in 5 years in Standard Chartered, I wasn't promoted at all. So those were the 3 years of wilderness, and those were the years whereby you wonder with all the things you were doing, because I mean you're offering somebody another role. He's done a role for 3 years, give him another role to come and do again, but you don't want to promote him. So sometimes I'm going to be in those kind of situations. They'll try to dim your life for any kind of reason, because human beings are human beings. Well, you see, there's always a force and a power, our Most High, because He has the journey. He understands the end from the beginning. So what is teaching, and He has to take you to when you're at a place of wilderness, because those 5 years was where perseverance, patience, character, a lot of things were built. So in the midst of it all, you wear a smile on your face and you turn up at work every day, irrespective of anything. You just keep on going with your eye on the goal. I did it for 5 years. In 2018, the client call for First Bank came. When my boss then in Standard Chartered, which was too late, when she said I was leaving, then she offered me two roles. She asked me, I don't want to be the CFO Botswana in Standard Chartered or CFO Cameroon. I said, no, I don't want to be. But, at that time, I had the confidence to ask her that I've been here for 5 years. Is there anything I truly did that didn't make you promote me in these 5 years? Because for truth, I should really give an answer. So anyways, she couldn't. So, we battle not against flesh and blood, but, against spiritual darkness in high places. That's it, they're in high places. So I want to say something here. No matter how high or successful you become, you have to stay in his presence. You have to stay in his presence. And you do that anyhow that it works for you. Do you understand? You have to stay in his presence. I am tied to God's apron. I'm in bed with God. So I live in his presence, whether it's through prayers, whatever. It's a cycle. Yeah, it's not, we haven't attained perfection or anything, but we try not to deviate or be out of there for long. Because that's the only place that you can get the grace and the energy that you need to make it in this world. I joined First Bank from there in 2018, where I was the group head of subsidiaries finance and capital management, looking after the finance function for all the First Bank subsidiaries: Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Paris, China, Congo, UK. So the CFOs of those countries used to report to me. I used to report to the CFO of the bank. I also submitted the capital of First Bank. So I did that role for 3 years. And then in 2021, I got a phone call in February from the current MD of FCMB, Mrs. Yemisienu. She was the CFO of the bank. So there was a problem in the bank. The MD had to leave. So she had to become the acting MD. Then the group CFO had to go to become the CFO of the bank. So they had to fill the group CFO role. And they called and said if I was interested. And when the call came, because I didn't see that one coming. So you see, your purpose is all in his palm. The journey has already been written. Because I started my bank career in FCMB already in First Bank. I was First Bank, already looking at you in First Bank. You're talking about a bank that is like maybe tier one bank, 4, 5 size of balance sheet of FCMB, something like FCMB. I worked here already, so I started. But today, without a shadow of doubt, that is exactly what I'm supposed to be today. So after a few conversations, long and short, left First Bank to join FCMB in June, July 2021 as a group CFO. So I'd gone, the way I say it is, I'd gone around the circle. I started from home and I went around the sun and came back again. But the career whereby you started like, currency trader entry level from uni. Well, it was a prestigious job, but at the end of the day, it's one of the smallest firms in the place. So you now come back and you're one of the key decision makers, assisting to drive the vision and the strategy of the founder of blessed memory, too much Balogun, as well as his son was leading the pack now. What am I trying to say here? I'm saying that you must get to a point in life whereby you have to submit everything into his hands. Now, this is me that was in an accounting class in Ife of about 600 people, 500. And I'll tell you for free, I'll probably the least most, we're going to vote back then, least most likely to succeed. My name will come up like 100 times because I was the party boy. I was the one, there was no time for blah, blah, blah. Well, in that class, I didn't even know, a handful of us are chartered accountants, but, I'm not even really sure. It was even group CFOs today. That's the truth. I know we have very, very successful people in that class as well, but it's just funny how what I'm trying to say is that, I'm not trying to say, well, I'm the only group CFO. I'm trying to say that it's funny how me, that was the least most likely to say, I've been one that has now stuck the part, with the grace of God up to the finish end. So this journey will prepare you for challenges. You don't get to where I sit today. You don't get people ask me that, how does it feel? I say, you don't arrive there. You get for me personally, you get it like a wounded lion. You're going to meet all sorts of people, colleagues that will pretend to like it, that don't like it. There'll be all sorts of things. But you have to learn how to operate at a realm or at a level that you just rely on grace and keep your eye on the goal and what you're trying to achieve. You don't let anything pull you down. You don't look at, this person is doing this, that person is doing that. Oh, these people are this, they're this. I don't like this person. I don't like this boss. There's no good or bad boss. God brings them into your life for a purpose and a reason. Human beings, some are naturally wicked, some are naturally kind. It's just how they've been created. But even at that creation, it's for its purpose. So you can learn one or two things, understand one or two things, on exactly what it's trying to do. Now, when I circle back, we'll go and we'll come back. If you've heard the story properly, so throughout that journey, I've never applied for a banking job before. It's always been either I've been headhunted or was a referral. So it also means that if you stay and do what you're supposed to do, keep your head down. So when I was in the wilderness, my wilderness was Standard Chartered. When I was in the wilderness, so that's a part of my house, but I'm sure the John will come in like a minute or so. When I was in the wilderness, in Standard Chartered, there was no promotion for 5 years. But I don't recall that ever grumbling. I mean, you can imagine being there, you do a role, and then the bank comes and offers you a role, another role with more money to come and do something else. But they don't promote you. So it's a bit weird. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? Well, you don't grumble. You just know that you keep on doing this, and then you wait for the real one to come. That's how that went. Now let me wrap this up by saying this is where we were, this is where we'll go to. Coincidentally, this week of April, there was an event in Oriental. It's just showing you how, everything just shows you how far you've come, on eagle wings through the grace of God, knowing that, like I said, by strength shall no man prevail. There was an event on Thursday and Friday. I'd have totally forgotten. My PA was something I wanted to try to attend, and I was like, look, there's a lot going on right now. We're trying to recapitalize the bank. I don't have, but I just said, okay, it's in the evening. I'll try to, Thursday won't show anymore. I try to conquer one of the panelists and speakers. Then for the one in the morning on Thursday, I had to leave early, left everybody there to go and continue working around noon. The Friday one, I was like, saying, look, I want night dinner. I didn't want to go there. Please, they can do their dinner. But he said, okay, please, sir, just try to go there this month. Okay. So I went anyway, sort of grudgingly. Yesterday, I went. But what am I trying to say? I went there and, to my shock and surprise, the dinner and award night at Rental, I won 2 awards. I was given the award for CFO of the Year Banking in Nigeria. Banking category, CFO of the Year for 2024, and the award for Africa Top 50 CFOs, Top 50 in Africa, took place. So it's a moment of reflection. It doesn't mean that everybody on this call is going to win awards. That's not what I'm trying to preach here. What I'm saying for sure is that if you stay on the path, keep your eye on the goal, the rewards will come. There are no shortcuts to success. It's hard work and the grace of God. There's no other way that you can make it happen. I'm talking about long-lasting success. I'm not talking about a flash in the pan. I'm not talking about one day you do this, you do that. No, sustainability. So, gentlemen and ladies, this is my story. This is where we are today. So I'll take any questions or comments. As the case may be. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't bore you guys. So I just thought it'd be easier to just share my own story of my life so that you can pick. You can pick whatever it is that you want to pick in that story rather than tell another man's story. Good for you to hear that journey and how it has been from where I started from, that primary school and those friends, and how everything has shaped military school till today. So military school, another one, we talk about that another day. We didn't used to sleep in that school. We didn't used to sleep. We didn't used to sleep at night. I just realized that's why I don't like to sleep at night. We didn't used to sleep. We're always under punishment. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Deji. God bless you. We have chosen to have Deji speak with us in an everyday language so that we all can know that we can succeed. He has dropped a number of nuggets for us to work with, and those who desire, I know we all desire to get to the very top, who can pick these things up. Um, if there are questions, please drop them in the chat box, and then we'll just take some time to pray. In the simplicity of Mr. Deji's approach, uh, I just want us to have it in mind that every step of the way, God is with us. You can do your stuff, but it's only God that will complete it for you. He talked about never having to apply, but he got referrals. People keep speaking for him. And what I want to let you know is that between where you are and where you are going, there is at least one man who will speak for you. That was exactly what happened to Joseph. Why we are praying.